Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm back with another terrific Tuesday card. My name is Sherry Minnie. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who lives in Colorado in a small town called Keansburg. We're about 45 minutes northeast of Denver. Today I'm going to be featuring a card that uses some of the Designer Series paper that I absolutely love, and fall is my favorite time of the year, so it's all kind of fall themed. So here's our card that we're making, and there's minimal stamping, actually minimal supplies for this card, and I just made it kind of generic so it can be made into, used for any occasion. I want to show you first off the Designer Series paper that we're using. This is called Autumn Toile, and this is in the annual catalog, the current one, 25-26, and it's got some really nice patterns. Again, very much fall themed. And what I like about this pack is there are 4 designs, but you still get 12 of each sheets like normal, but you get 3 of each one, which works out better for me for my classes and everything. And so you have pheasant, pumpkins, this is a fox, and then this is the pattern that we're going to be using today. And then on the back side, as usual, you have more just solid patterned paper without any real picture or design on it. So again, it's one of my favorite. Absolutely love it. Stamp sets are very minimal. We'll only be using, for our greeting, we're going to be using Simply Said. We're going to use the hello for the front and just a note for the inside. And then for the decoration on our envelope and inside, we're using autumn trees, and we're going to use the deer and the little rock and grass thing. 2 ink colors: Early Espresso, Pecan Pie, and the embellishments I chose to use are Cajun Craze and gold dots, and they have a little bit of gold sparkle in them, and I thought they went well with the card that we're doing. So to get started in your packet, as always, there's your envelope. You have a Pecan Pie card base. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. You have a couple of pieces of Very Vanilla. These are 3.5 by 4 3/4, and you'll need 2, one for the front, one for the inside. You'll have a piece of Early Espresso, and this is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. You'll have a piece of Designer Series paper that starts out at 3 by 4 1/4, but we'll be cutting this, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. And then you have 2 very small pieces for our hello on the front. This is Very Vanilla, and it's 5/8 by 1 inch. And then you'll have Pecan Pie, which is 3/4 by 1 1/8 inches. Very tiny. So I'm going to put them in a little bowl I have here so I don't lose them. So to start off with, we're going to work on cutting down our Designer Series paper. And for that, I'll get my trimmer out. And you're actually going to make kind of 4 cuts, and I use my trimmer a lot from the bottom down here. So this measures 3 inches. The first thing we're going to do is cut it in half at 1.5 inches, and I hope you can see that. I know I don't have a zoom capability on my tripod or my camera, so we'll just make do with the best we can. Okay, so there you have 2 pieces like so. Now the object of this, the way we're going to cut it, is we want to keep our design flowing so that when you put it together, you still have the design. So you're going to take one piece, the first piece that you cut, and you're going to, from the top down, you're going to cut it at 1 3/4 inches, like so. And I'm going to lay these out exactly the way I cut them. And then on your next piece, you're going to cut from the bottom up 1 3/4 inches. And this will all make sense when we start laying it out, which is what we'll do next, okay? So then this one goes on the top so that you can continue to have your pattern, and this one goes on the bottom so that it continues to match up, okay? It's important that you keep them in order. If you need to mark them like 1 2 3 4, whatever helps you keep them in order, that's perfectly fine. So then we're going to take our early espresso piece, and I'm using my green cap glue because I'm definitely going to want to maybe move these around. So we're going to take the first piece that we cut, and it's going to go up here in the top right corner of your early espresso. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here. And I'm going to put a border all the way around. Try to get it straight. Then we'll take our second piece that we cut for the bottom of this piece of the first strip that we cut. And we're going to do the same thing here. And I tried to kind of get my borders top and bottom approximately the same. And then just lined it up by the edge of the first piece I laid down. So you can see your tree stays in order. Now we're going to take our third piece. And we're going to lay that right here. Same process. Okay. And then we'll have our third piece, or I'm sorry, our fourth piece. And we will line this one up and do exactly the same thing. So there, if you can see, you have your pattern going across, your patterns going up, and they match, and it makes it very pretty. Then we'll take this and we will put it on our very vanilla piece for the front. And again, I'm just going to use my glue. And you have a bit of a border here, so it's not a super tight fit. And there we go. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. Not much at all, but a little bit. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our card base. I'm going to take the Pecan Pie ink pad. And there's a little, just kind of a, I don't know, splotchy kind of, I don't know. I just wanted to add some interest to the front. So what I did, and let me grab, I need a scrap paper to stamp off on. Well, actually, no, I guess I didn't stamp off on this one. Well, I do, but not. I first of all stamped full strength. And then I kind of turned it. And all we're doing is making a little border all the way around. The center will be cut, will be covered, so you don't need to worry too much about that. And then we can just, and I actually even some of it I did at three stamps, third generation stamping. So here's first generation, there's second generation, and there's third generation. Third generation is very light. Okay, and then I closed my card base because I didn't want to get this. You could go all the way around, but I didn't want to. I just wanted it on the front. So I'm going to close my card, and then we will go and do this like so. I'll turn it over, and I'll do one more, and then we'll do one right here. Okay, and that's really all I did for that, and that's the only, I think that's the only actual stamping that we do with the Pecan Pie. So that is taken care of, but we will be using it again for just a little edge treatment to make it stand out. And so now we're going to take these little tiny pieces. And this only works because I have a clear stamp. But I am going to use my little stamping pad that gives me a little bit of cushion here, and actually I do want to use the side that I wrote on. I don't know why I did that. I want to, whoops, hold on, everything's falling on the floor. Okay, let me find my little eraser that I have. I have one over here. Okay, sorry, I had to go get something out of my desk because I decided I want to use this side that I wrote the measurements on because such a tiny piece, and I knew I would forget what the measurement was supposed to be. And hopefully it'll come off okay. Yeah, I don't like that, so I guess I will use the other side. Kind of got dirty. Okay, we're going to take our early espresso and our little hello, which just fits inside of our little piece here that I have. I didn't want anything big to take away from the design of the designer series paper. And this is pretty simple because it is photopolymer. Not super straight, but I think it'll work. Okay, now what I did is I took this and I took my ink pad and I just took the edge of this, and I hope you can see through my fingers, and I just tapped because I wanted to put a little bit of a brown edge on this. Could have used a marker, but I already had the pad out, so there's that. The thing you want to be careful is it does absorb some of the ink, so it stays kind of damp, so you want to be very careful when you try to touch it. And then we will do this one. This is our pecan pie backing piece. I want to do the exact same thing. Okay, and we'll close that. And for this, I'm actually going to use my tweezers so that I don't smear this too badly. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I know the lighting's not the best today. We still have a little bit of, although it's going to be a warmer, sunnier day today. Yesterday was quite cloudy and gloomy all day long. And we will put that right in there. Looks like I have a little more bigger piece here. I must have cut this one wrong. That's okay, we're gonna make it work. Okay, then I'm just gonna set that aside and let it dry because I don't want to mess with it too much. So we're gonna set it aside. I'm going to push it down a little bit and just let it sit there and dry. Okay, next thing we're going to do is actually do our inside greeting, and I have that on my stamp positioner, and we'll take our remaining Very Vanilla piece and we will put it in here, and it's just going to say just a note, and then you could make this into whatever type of card you want. Oh, we are doing a little more stamping with the, no we're not, actually we're just using our early espresso. I was going to say we're going to decorate our envelope and stuff with pecan pie, but I did not do that. Okay. And there's our just a note. And then I will bring back in my piece of scrap paper. I don't know that I necessarily need it, but oh, I do. All right, and then we'll take our early espresso, and so we're going to stamp the rocks and the little deer on the inside piece and on our envelopes. So, but to do the rock, I actually stamped this off about three, 4 times because I wanted it to be very light. And then I took the deer and I stamped it full strength so that it kind of looks like the rock that's standing in front of the rock. Hopefully that's what it looks like anyway. That was my goal. Whether it works or not, I think it does, especially after it dries. So then we'll do the same thing with the envelope. Again, I'm doing, oops, I got a little shadow there, but it's on the envelope. It's not going to hurt a thing. And there we go. And that is it for our stamping today. Okay, then we're going to take our card base. As soon as I dig it out, we'll take our inside piece. And we're going to put that on the inside. And this has a nice big border, so I'm just going to use my stamp seal. And we're just going to put that in there, try to keep our borders somewhat the same, top, bottom, and sides. Now you could, let's see, did I think I did, and I didn't do it on this one. But on the sample, I did take this and put it around the edges with the ink pad like I did before, but I didn't do that on that one. Okay, now we're going to take our this piece, our focal point piece, and I'm actually going to pop this up. And as I usually do, you will see I'm going to use a ton of dimensionals. But this goes through the postage machines, and this way it doesn't get all squashed down. And the dimensionals are not that expensive, so I never mind using enough to make sure my card's going to stay nice and elevated. And then we will take your pick tool and pick off all of these little backings. This is a card that we're doing that we did in class. I'm filming this a little bit early, so we haven't had class yet, but we will be doing this card. I'm trying to stay a little bit ahead on my videos. And then I'm going to open this up. And we are going to place this, making sure our pattern is running the right direction. And I don't want it over. And we're going to try once again to kind of keep the borders. Well, if I could get it straight, it would be even better, wouldn't it? And I hate trying to remove dimensionals. They're not the easiest thing to get up because they do stick. Oh, there, I think I made it. Okay, now let's try this again. Get this straight. Okay, I think that looks better. All right, and then this, I actually just glued it down straight because I don't want my card to get too thick for postage reasons. And I'm just going to use this since I have it out. And you may place it wherever you want. Whoops. Guess maybe I should put it on right side up. However, shouldn't I? I just chose to put it up here so that you could see the most of the design. And this piece should be a little bit narrower, a little less of a margin, but I guess sometimes I can't read my my cutter my trimmer like I'm supposed to. And then as soon as I find the dimensionals, I chose to do 3, and I took the smallest one and I put it up in the corner of my greeting. And then I took a large one and I put it down here, and then a medium right next to it, so it really calls your attention to the hello. Okay, let me get this put away. So here's the one we just completed. Here's the sample that I did for you. and they turned out pretty close to the same. As always, if there's anything here that you're interested in, if you love the paper or anything, you can find it on my online store at sherryminnie.stampinup.net. This card and pictures and details will be posted on my blog at simplylovestampin.com. And always, if you have a question, you can reach out to me at my email at suaddicted@gmail.com. And that's it for today. Thank you all so much for taking your time, whether it's the daytime or the evening, to watch my video. And I do hope that you know how much I appreciate any views that I get. It does certainly help my channel to stay active, and I just really appreciate it. So may God bless each and every one of you, and I shall see you next week. Bye-bye.